Good day, everyone. So here's our new topic for your subject, Contemporary World. And this is about global divides, the North and the South, First and Third Worlds. Global North and Global South are terms that denotes a method of grouping nations according to different characteristics, particularly socioeconomics and politics. So these countries, the Global South and the Global North, has existing members that comprises the different countries around the world. So there will be the Global South and the Global North, which will be discussed further on the next slides. First things first, so we will be in this topic that we are going to discuss, you will be expected to understand the concept of global divides. You will be you will be able also to explore the differences between the North and the South in the global divides and discuss the terms First and Third World. So, historical context. Saan po ba nagsimula itong global divides? Okay? This global divides has started, sinabi nila, from the origins of global divides traced back to colonialism. So we all know that colonialism is yung pagsakop po sa atin, di ba? And a foreign country influences everything that we have and controls everything we have in the country. So everything we are and everything we have has been influenced by these colonizers. For example, po sa Philippines, the country who colonized us was Spain for 333 years. So dito po nangyari ay na-influensyahan po tayo ng taga-North because Spain came from the global divide of the North. So sila yung kasama sa Europa. Later, pag-usapan natin kung sino-sino yung mga bansang kasama nito. It also has impact of the Industrial Revolution. Ano po yung Industrial Revolution? Ito po yung time wherein machines were invented and all inventions and discoveries were done by the European civilization and was also introduced to us. Tsaka dahil dito sa Industrial Revolution, nangailangan ng maraming tao. Okay, dito rin po pumasok yung slavery, yung machines and inventions, diba? So dito po, the global divide was also like nabigyan ng definition during the Industrial Revolution. Also, post-World War II economic structure also affected the historical concept kung bakit nagkaroon po ng emergence itong global divides. So the development disparity between the North and the South has sometimes been explained in historical terms. Minsan, it was the dependency theory who looks back on the pattern na ang ating mga colonial relations na nag-emphasize kung paano po tayo natutulungan or nasakop ng mga taga-North. So, economics of ex-colonial states remain oriented towards sa kanilang mga colonizers, di ba? So, dependency theory, kung minsan umaasa tayo sa kanila. Like, for example, the Commonwealth government of the colonial Americans, di ba? Yung binigyan tayo ng 35 years to form our own government and then they will be awarding the government to us kapag nakita nilang tayo ay kaya na natin. But if you have watched Pulang Araw, the Netflix series, meron pong mga impluwensya, certain influences ang ating mga colonialist na mga Amerikano na talagang isinasabuhay na rin ng mga Pilipino sa panahon na yon. Okay? Nations, tayo yon, yung mga nasa labas na mga nasyon, ay mga primary source tayo ng mga ng mga goods na magagamit po ng ating mga colonizers. Now, going back to the global divides through colonialism, Colonialism established early economic and political divides. Merong master, merong slave, di ba? So Africa became one of the slaves na source ng slaves for the Americans and European nation. Now, European powers exploited resources and labor in colonized regions, di ba? Kinukuha nila yung mga Black Africans and then what they do is they enslave them. Dito naman sa atin, Magellan went to the Philippines to search for spices, pero anong nangyari? Bumalik si Villalobos para po sakupin ang Pilipinas because they already charted through Magellan's first circumnavigation of the world, he already charted the Philippines as an aspect for natural resources na pwede nilang pakinabangan. Colonies were often left with weak infrastructure and economies. Bakit? Mapipilay tayo, di ba? Tulad halimbawa, nung nasakop tayo ng mga Hapon, we can only use their money. Malaya tayo na wala na ang ating economic system ng money na parang tinawag na nilang Mickey Mouse money at that time. Paano nila tinawag na Mickey Mouse money? Kasi wala na siyang value. Kasi bumalik naman ang Americans, yun na naman ang gusto nila, the monetary system of the Americans, ang ina-acknowledge lang. So how do you think colonial history continues to impact global divides today? This is your first question sa inyo pong activity sa susunod po na sa inyong GCR or Google Classroom. So question number 1, how do you think colonial history continues to impact global divides today? Next one. The impact of the Industrial Revolution. So the Industrial Revolution boosted economic growth in the North. Paano sila naging mas maunlad? It's because they exploited the resources, even human resources, and natural resources and raw materials from the South. Technological advancement and had widened the gap between the North and the South. Lahat ng mga inbensyon, dinadala nila, di ba si Marco Polo, he traveled to China. And then when he learned about gunpowder, he brought it back to Europe. And what they did was Europe developed the gunpowder invention of China, and then fireworks, di ba, ginawa ni Europe. And what happened was that sila yung nakapag-produce ng mas maraming firearms and ammunitions when it comes to pangangailangan sa mga darating na war. So they also shift from agrarian to industrial economies in the North. From the cotton fields of the sa Americas, nangyari ay nagkaroon sila ng nag-turn sila to industrial economy. Ano yung industrial economy? So nandito na yung mga tren, nandun na yung mga buildings, nandun na yung mga factories, instead of having the raw materials produced by themselves. So the next question is, what technological advancement do you think has the most significant impact? Ano ba yung mga technological, if I have given you one example of the fireworks and the gunpowder invented by China, can you also cite another example, technological advancement, which impacted the global divide during the Industrial Revolution? So, hanapin nyo po yan sagot niyan. Number 2 question, what technological advancement do you think has the most significant impact dito po sa ating global divide? Okay, you can name nuclear bomb, ano pa ba? The invention of cars, the protection from diseases, marami pong technological advancement, the use of cellphone na pwede nyo pong gamitin na lalo po ninyong mapapakita yung gap ng global divide ng North at South. So, anong technological advancement ang mga yun? Defining the North and the South. So, the North are more developed and industrialized countries. So, in the map, as you can see, the North Americas, here sa map na to, the blue one, the USSR and European countries, they all belong to the developed and industrialized countries. Later on, there's a part here, napapansin nyo po sa bandang Africa. Okay, South Africa has also been uh, winning the title of the developed industrialized countries kasi nagiging maunlad na rin po siya as well as Australia. Bakit nandito sila banda sa baba pero bakit yung mga nasa taas sila lang yung doon ang mga blue? The red one connotes the South, developing less industrialized countries. Pero ngayon po kasi meron po tayong world, third world, second world, and first world. And the second world later pag-usapan po natin. Pero basically there are only two types of worlds or divides that we acknowledge for the study. So Global North has high GDP or gross development product and income levels. Matataas ang mga sweldo, matataas yung kinikita ng kanilang bansa when it comes to industry, production, and everything else. So, advanced infrastructure and technology. Maganda yung mga roads nila, buildings and bridges. Even Japan is donating bridges for the Philippines kasi sila marami na silang magagandang structures. Your expressways and also the MRT. Japan din po ang kapartner natin dyan and other first world or global north countries. They also have strong education and healthcare system. Okay? So, ang kanilang sistema sa edukasyon ay matatag at marami din po silang pang-alaga when it comes to the healthcare system. Marami silang pondo para doon, hindi tulad sa atin, ngayon lang na-implement ang Universal Health Law, samantalang sa ibang bansa, it's a basic right ng kanila, lalo na sa Global North. In the US, libre po lahat ng gamot. In Canada also, kapag nanganak ka, yung panganganak mo, ikaw pa babayaran dahil nanganak ka, di ba? Ay binibigyan ka, marami silang benefits na binibigay for the people na talagang tumutulong para mapa-aral mo at maalagaan mo yung iyong mga anak ng maayos sa kanilang healthcare through the healthcare systems. So characteristics of the Global North, they generally include North America, Europe, and developed parts of East Asia. So East Asia includes your USSR and Japan. So higher income levels and standards of living. Paano po yun? Di ba? Kaya nga po nag-abroad ang mga Pilipino kasi their money, their dollars is equivalent to 52 pesos, 55 pesos, di ba? In $1. So they have higher income levels. So tulad na naging halimbawa ako po dun sa una kong topic, tulad po dito, higher income levels and standard of living in the US, they paid $4,500 to $5,000 a month. Diba? And that's equivalent to 250,000, roughly 200 to 250,000 pesos in the Philippine money. So what happens is that marami pong teachers, kung meron ng pagkakataon na magturo sa Amerika or sa Europa, kahit saan pa man, ay nag-choose din to go abroad. Even nurses and doctors and even our customer relations na mga Pilipino and even domestic helpers, di ba? So dito, mag-earn ka lang ng minimum natin dito is 5,000 pesos, di ba? Sa America and other places, we are paid a lot bigger. Even in Singapore, sa Singapore and Hong Kong, malaki na rin ang sweldo ng DH. They also have, the Global North has strong political and economic influences globally. So hindi lamang po dito tulad sa atin, di ba? Inaapi-api lang tayo sa West Philippine Seas. Wala tayong magawa because our influence only covers dyan, hanggang dyan lang tayo. Hindi tayo makaprotesta, hindi tayo makalaban because we know we'll be on the losing end with China. So, however, China nagmamatigas kasi alam niyo, they have the manpower, they have the money, they have the resources. Kahit pag-umpisa ng gera, di ba? Tayo, wala tayong kalaban-laban. So, kahit nagpo-protesta ang Australia, nagpo-protesta ang NATO, nagpo-protesta ang mga neighboring countries natin, wala tayong magawa, di ba? Nakampihan tayo verbally, pero pagdating naman sa sa isip-isip lang siguro nila, kawawa naman ng mga Pilipino, maliit lang kasi na country. So what advantages do you think these characteristics provide? Okay? So this one, rhetorical question na to, wag niyo na itong sagutin. So I only have 1, 2 pa lang ha. Dito, pwede na nating sabihin to, medyo basic lang kasi ito sagutin. So what advantages do you think these characteristics provide? May mga advantages, siyempre, because they are more powerful, they have higher income levels. Ito po yung mga positive aspects nila. Dalawa pa lang ha. So far, we are on slide number 9 and we only have 2 questions pa lang. So characteristics naman of the Global South primarily includes Africa, Latin America, and developing parts of Asia. And that includes us. Okay? So we have lower per capita income and living standards. So kita mo na lang, di ba? The slums. Kahit dito sa Philippines, di ba, Metro Manila, dami-dami nating squatters area. So we often struggle with poverty, political instability, and limited access to resources. So, yun, paghihirap, political instability, di ba? Limited access to resources, konti lang ang ating, lalo na ngayon, di ba? Sa panahon ngayon nito, even food resources natin, ang hirap. Di ba? Hindi nga tayo makapag-produce ng sarili nating bigas. We have to import rice para lang magmura ang rice. Di ba? Frequently, former colonies of global north countries. Di ba? Indonesia has been colonized by the Dutch. Philippines by the Spaniards, Myanmar, Vietnam by the Americans. The last troops to pull out from Vietnam were the Americans. Myanmar, I think, from China. Diba? Marami din sumakop sa Myanmar. Magulo din sila. Wala din sila political stability. And marami pa pong bansa. Malaysia, Cambodia. So they are all colonies, kumbaga ng mga global north countries. May mga sumakop talaga sa atin. So how might colonial history impact global south nation? Well, we already discussed that on the first slide. So far, dalawa pa rin po tanong po ha. Characteristics pa na dagdag sa global south, lower GDP, or gross domestic products and income levels. Limited infrastructure and technology. Tingnan nyo nga lang sa houses natin, di ba? So, challenges in education and healthcare. Paano po sa education? K-12 nga lang. Tayo na lang yung bansang hindi nagka-K-12 before the implementation of the K-12 system. Pero good thing na nakahabol na tayo. So, our education right now is at par with the universal standard. Kasi kung wala kang masters, ang masters natin dati is equivalent to bachelor degree lang ng ibang bansa. So, that's a good thing na here in Southeast Asia, we also use the K-12 curriculum. Healthcare, pagdating sa healthcare, wala. Di ba, ang hirap, although meron tayong PhilHealth, ang hirap pa rin ayusin. Para sa halimbawa, the last time I experienced was when my firstborn had an accident. We wanted the best care for the bones dahil napali po yung mga bones niya sa kamay. So we wanted to access the orthopedic specialist in the orthopedic hospital in Manila. And although we have, meron siyang kasi kaya nagpo-call center naman siya, meron siyang health card. And we use that health card kasi kahit yung private doctors, they will also ask him to go to orthopedic for all the necessary equipments na kailangan po para ma-operahan yung kamay niya. So, medyo, kumbaga, even if you have the money, meron pa rin tayong limited na, or meron kang health card na nababayaran, still, nalilimitahan po yung ating healthcare services kasi facilities natin ay hindi naman upgraded. Okay? So wealth distribution between the North and the South, wealth is between the global North and South. The North, a significant portion of global wealth, and this disparity affects living standards and economic opportunities. How do you think wealth distribution impacts global relations? Well, di ba? Tulad nga po na sabi ko kanina, because of wealth, merong master, merong slave. And where do the slaves come from? Usually, the domestic helpers. Even in history, the black Africans or the black Americans were first slaves from the South, di ba? So, kung napapansin niyo po, yung red na yan sa wealth. When it comes to wealth, ito maliit lang siya, no? Maliit lang, ibig sabihin po, yan ang pinakamababa. Pero mas mababa po yung may mga stripes. If you can see the slide, yung stripes na yan na countries, yan yung mga pinakamahihirap na countries. Okay? Na pinakamababa ang sweldo. From Mexico, gustong-gusto ng tao lumipat to US. To the point na kahit barilin sila sa border ng US at ng Amerika, they will risk it para lang lumipat ng Amerika. Diba? Because of poverty sa lugar. So even the Philippines has some portions na medyo may stripes, diba? Malaysia, Indonesia. So all over the world, mga Singaporeans daw kumukuha ng makatulong from Indonesia, from Philippines, from Malaysia. Because Singaporeans can afford kasi mataas pong kanilang GDP at mga income and standards of living. Kasi maganda ang ekonomiya ng Singapore. Okay? Next one is economic disparities. Ano po yung pagkakadiferensya ng mga ekonomiya ng bawat bansa? Diba? For here, sa pyramid na to, pinapakita yung mga number of adults and percentage of world adults. Sabi nga daw, yung wealth range na natin from $10,000 pababa, halos kalahati ng tao sa mundo ay kumikita ng $10,000 pababa. Pwede yan tulad sa atin dito in the Philippines. We only earn $10 a day, ang minimum wage earners, di ba? $10 or $12 a day sa ang ating mga minimum wage earners, which is like equivalent to 600 pesos, di ba? So, below 10,000. Kalahati ng mundo. Ang iba, hindi nga nag-earn ng ganyang kalaki. Yung mga nag-earn ng 50 pesos a day, that's only $1. $1, sabi sa ibang bansa dito sa Southeast Asia. Especially when you become a tourist, pupunta ng Cambodia, Singapore, yung meal na bibilin mo, this is only $2. $1. So, that's how they say it. Later, part po ng ating lesson kung bakit po USD ang basihan or US dollars lang ang basihan ng pera sa buong mundo. Okay, role of trade and investment. So, kapag nag-i-invest ng mga Americans dito sa atin, 'di ba, sa call center agents, 'di ba, if they earn 25,000, that's only $500 a month. So, it's only $500 a month. And ang $500 na yan, it's still below the 10,000 USD na kalahati ng mundo, adults are working for less than $10,000. Now, sino naman yung mga dito naman siguro sa mga middle class, $10,000 to $100,000. It's 34%. Ito din tawag natin middle class, businessmen siguro, medium size, small business entrepreneurs. So, meron tayong 34%. Pero pagdating naman sa mga milyonaryo, okay, actually, ang 100,000 sa atin sa Philippines, milyonaryo na yun, pero this one is worldwide, Okay, so 100, kung meron kang 100,000 to 1 million US dollars, it only comprises 11.4%. So sa isang daan, sa 10 tao, every 10 tao, may isa lang dyan na milyonaryo. Diba? So, parang ganun yung magiging Tapos itong billionaire na siguro to sa taas, comprises of 1% lang. 1% in every million, in every 100. So, sa kada 99 na may mas nakaangat siya sa 99 katao, itong 1% na to, na mayaman. Diba? Yun yung labas mo. Okay, environmental challenges. This is the next differences between the North and the South. They have disproportionate impact on climate change on the South and resource exploitation and environmental degradation and global efforts to address environmental issues. So, ito po, usually disproportionate impact on climate change of the South. Bakit ba nagiging mas ano yung South? One of the things na nag-aapekto po sa Global South are, 'di ba, yung nasa Pacific Ring of Fire tayo. Marami tayong earthquakes, marami tayong volcanic eruptions, marami tayong tsunamis. And these natural disasters are often uh, having an impact with our economy. So, kahit pa paano, di ba, naapektuhan kapag ang palay natin ay na-wash out ng bagyo or baha, di ba, ilang millions ang nadi-declare na lost, di ba, because of these natural disasters. So, resource exploitation, how will you say that? Nandito yung mga minahan, di ba? Nagmimina, raw materials are being sold. Meron ngang meron niyang yung mining na yan dito sa Philippines. Actually, may kontrata pa yan sa certain countries mula pa noon, and those contracts stands for more than 100 years kung minsan. So, kung ano yung mga makakalkal dito sa bundok na pag-aari na ng mga foreign investors, wala ka na magagawa because you already have a contract with the foreign investors. Pero ngayon, kumbaga, naghahanap na rin tayo ng way para ma-address ang mga environmental issues na tulong din ng Global North. Tinutulungan din naman nila tayo kahit paano. So, for example, Greenpeace, yung nagpuprotekta ng karagatan, they will be, they are not just the seas, but also the natural resources of the land. So, they basically help us sa pag-address, and even Greenpeace is extending to the Global South sa pagtulong. May mga branches na rin yan dito sa Global South. So, climate change and environmental justice. Climate change disproportionately affects the Global South. Mas grabe talaga yung impact sa atin. Many southern countries are more vulnerable to extreme weather and rising sea levels. So, extreme weather, that would be extremely hot weather. Dahil doon, lalo na yung Africa, di ba? They cannot produce food on their own. Ang water supply is also very, what do you call this one? Is also very hard, di ba? The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, that's the movie ng batang nag-invento ng well para sa kanyang community sa Africa. So the North has historically contributed more to greenhouse gas emissions. In what way? Kasi because of their factories and the vehicles that they produce, lalo po ay nagkakaroon po ng greenhouse gas emissions. So how does climate change intersect with global economic divide? So lalo nga pong naapektuhan, di ba? So kung minsan na feeling responsible din naman tong mga northern countries, tinutulungan o mga southern country or South divide ng mga tao, ng mga countries, tinutulungan din naman ni North, and they have their own programs and projects that's also helping the Global South. So, analyze the source below on your journal. So, eto po, Bibiya, kailangan ninyong i-interpret. So, kailangan nyo pong i-interpret, and this will be for your, what do you call this one? For your main activity. So, kailangan, ito may mga clue na binigay, di ba? There's the details, cartoons, a man sweeping houses on the road, houses look crowded, dirty, poor, man looks sad, shining city and the distance with the rainbow over top. So, implicit details, symbols, city and houses, global north and global south, tone sadness. So, paano mo po, ililink nyo po ito sa globalization, exploitation, and economic destruction. So, magbibigay po kayo ng interpretation, and your interpretation should not be less than 10 sensible sentences. Okay? Kailangan may sense yung sentences ninyo to earn points. And this will be your analyzation of the source ng cartoons na to. So what you will do is activity, this is like hindi siya question na hindi ibang to, essay niyo to, okay? This is a essay part, not less than 10 sentences, and you give the interpretation of the cartoons. Anyan na po sa yung mga details na yung sa gilid, use them sa inyo pong gagawing essay. Okay, no two essays are the same, okay? Kung either kinopy-paste yan or pareho kayong masisiro kapag iyan po ay nahuli ko. Next one, global trade dynamics. Okay. Global trade dynamics, pagkakaiba na naman sa trade dynamics ng Global South and Global North. It often favors the Global North. Bakit? Kasi sila yung may power eh. Kung sino yung may power, siya ang mas may say, siya ang mas may boto. Trade agreements can create imbalances, benefiting developed nations more. Kasi they have more power. Kahit naman sa pamilya, di ba, kung sino yung breadwinner, mas nire-respeto. Kung sino yung mas mapera, siyang mas may say. Well, di ba, nangyayari naman yan. So, the South often exports raw materials and imports finished good. Yun ang masaklap, di ba? Tayo nagpapadala ng raw material, sila nagdi-develop, then pagka buo na yan, ibabalik sa'yo, ikaw din ang bibili. Di ba? How do trade dynamics affect economic growth in the South? Medyo obviously, diba? This trade dynamics, laging lugi si South. For example, a t-shirt, itong shoes nga, no? Marikina shoes. Diba? From China, you buy the materials cheaper. Produce mo dito. Dadalhin, import mo sa US. Bibenta rin yan sa mga countries na third world din. Diba? Kasi mas mura. Hindi na nakuha, mas mura din nila ibibenta. So, political governance issues, political stability in the North versus instability in the South. Okay, paano mo makikita yan paano nababahagi ang mga kayamanan at resources sa Global South and Global North. So, governance challenges in developing countries. Paano yun, di ba? Yung nga lang di ba? Yung binibigay during typhoon, ano nga ba yung tawag doon? The distribution of food packs, di ba? Maraming kurakot. Bakit? Bakit kumukuha yung mga officials na yan? Babawasan pa yung plastic. Di ba? Yung mga nagre-repack, nagninenok pa ng mga supplies. Bakit nila ginagawa yan? Dahil gutom din sila eh, or kulang din sa kanila. Kung mayayaman yung mga nagre-repack na yan, kukuha pa ba sila ng food na dapat ay ibigay doon sa mga walang-wala, nasalanta ng bagyo o sunog. Diba? Pero dahil po, yun, isa pa, may mga politicians na papasok sa politics, mahirap. Aba, ilang term lang nila, 1 o 2 terms lang, mamahali na yung gamit, mayayaman na, magaganda na yung suot, dati naka-tricycle lang, ngayon, Mercedes-Benz. Dati, naka-sandals lang ng plastic. Ngayon, puro tatak, puro tag-milyones ang relo, ang bags, di ba? So, politics and governance ay napakalaki pong bagay, lalo ng graft and corruption. Yun nga, sabi nga nila, di ba? Sino lang ba ang politician na hindi kurakot? Lahat yan kurakot. I'm telling you. Walang nakaka-resist ng temptation to become more rich or rich. Kasi kumbaga, sino ba naman ang gustong maghirap, 'di ba? Pero yun nga, everybody, lahat yan sa politics na yan, they have, lahat yan mga kurakot yan. So, role of international organizations. Role of international organizations, dito po pumapasok ang para hindi magmalabis ang mga tao, tulad ng minention ko po, ICC, di ba? Yung mga nag-aabuso sa power, yung pinanamamatay lang ng tao ng walang kabuluhan, like the judicial killing ng mga drug addicts daw, sabi ng
sabi ng ICC, dapat may managot. So, sila po, the previous government of the Philippines, former President Rodrigo Duterte is being accused by the ICC of criminal injustice. Diba? So, international organizations, mas maraming problema sa atin, sa Philippines, dito sa South, compared to sa North, na more stable ang kanilang pamamahala. The King and Queen of England, di ba? Sila pa rin, although the Prime Ministers handle the governance, pero umaga, meron silang political or governance stability. Kasi merong may hawak ng pagpapatakbo ng gobyerno. Sa tingin nyo kaya kung yung monarch ng Europe, sila pa rin ang magpapatakbo ng bansa, do you think hindi sila papalitan? But still, because of their political stability, well, naayos sila. May mga prime ministers na papalit-palit at meron din respeto ng kanilang government. Next one. First world versus third world. So the first world are the capitalist, industrialized countries. Third world are the non-aligned developing countries. Okay? So, bakit may yellow? Okay, may second world. Let's talk about the second world. Ay, hindi na, nadagdag yung slide. The second world actually, nag-emerge lang po yan dahil pagdating po ng Cold War, after the post-World War II years, ay nagkaroon po ng development or they become developing industrialized countries. So, kumbaga tumataas, nagkakaroon ng progress. China is one, Soviet Socialist Republic is one. So, karamihan sa kanila ay more on the communist na mga government during the Cold War because they were able to produce more sophisticated weapons and intelligence. That's the bell. Sorry, okay, but we are interrupted. So higher wealth in the north leads to better living standards. As you can see, diba? Just one person, the wealth of one person compared to lahat ng naghihirap. The South faces challenges like poverty and limited access to resources. Economic opportunities are more abundant in the North, di ba? Kahit dito lang sa Pilipinas, di ba? Bakit lahat ng tao from the provinces, they come to Manila, to Metro Manila? It's because mas marami po tayo dito mas marami din tayo ditong industrialized jobs, di ba? So doon kung hirap-hirap magsaka, pupunta sila dito, di opisina. Because parang nag-a-apply din yung global north and south sa local north and south natin. Di ba? That's why the Dutertes wanted to have a government or a Malacanang in Mindanao. Kasi bakit daw dito lang sa north ang progress, nagpo-progress din naman ang Mindanao. So, maraming factors na nagko-contribute sa differences sa living standards ng bawat bansa. Education, health, di ba? Marami yun. So, global health disparities. So, significant health disparities exist between the North and the South. So, the South faces challenges like limited healthcare access and higher disease burdens. Diba nung pagdating nga ng pandemic, we are asking help from China, from USSR, from United States of America para magkaroon ng access to vaccine, COVID vaccines. Life expectancy is generally lower in the global South. Bakit? Kasi maraming sakit, wala tayong magandang health facilities, wala rin tayong pera na halos para po maalagaan ang ating health at makakain ng healthy food, di ba? So how do global health disparities relate to economic development, di ba? What role should the North do to address the global health challenges? Although never mind those questions. These are, kumbaga, ay given na, di ba? So, yung global health disparities natin sa economy, malalaman naman talaga, di ba? So, if the person is not earning enough, wala rin siyang pampagamot, di ba? Sabi nga ng iba, huwag na magpa-hospital para hindi na malamang may sakit, gastos lang yan. So, health disparities talaga, depende yan kung magkano kung ang tao ay may pera. Eh dito sa Pilipinas, kahit may pera ang tao, poor facilities naman ng mga hospitals and healthcare centers natin. So what role should the North do to address global health challenges? The North helps the other people in the South, like for example, global aid. Nung nagbibigay naman ng tulong ang Amerika for the Africans, di ba? The World Health Organization is a pangkalahatan yan. That's a global program of the United Nations para masagot ang mga pangangailangan sa kalusugan ng buong mundo. With the United States of America spearheading the so-called services. Education and human capital. So education levels vary exactly between the North and the South. The North generally has higher literacy rate and educational attainment. Bakit? Kasi hindi nila kailangan magtrabaho ng maaga. Di tulad sa atin, students drop out because they want to help parents earn or their parents cannot afford anymore to send them to school. Many southern countries struggle with providing quality education to all. And good thing nga, tinataasan na yung sweldo ng mga teachers. And teachers, kung may available lang na trabaho sa abroad, they prefer to go abroad. Diba? And also, yung mga college natin na mga nakakatapos ng college natin, like the nurses and the doctors, what happens is that they migrate to other North countries or global North countries kasi mas mataas ang sweldo doon. So, how does education impact a country's development prospects? Well, it does. So, what are some innovative approaches to improving education in the South? Ito po, sagutin niyo to. Kasi it has something to do with your course, di ba? Mga bitibitid, except for the class readings in Philippine history for the entrance. You are all bitibitid students, or you are in the education area. So what do you think are some innovative approaches to improving education in the South? Sa tingin niyo. Okay? So ano ba yung mga example lang dito sa atin, education for all. Okay. We discuss that further. Education for all is one innovative project. The K-12 curriculum is another one. International schools in the Philippines adopting international curriculums. So these are some example of innovative practices na pwede nyo pong i-research at sagutan. Okay? Migration and brain drain. Brain drain refers to educated people living in developing countries or undeveloped countries. Many skilled workers migrate from the South to the North for better opportunities. Tulad sinasabi ko, di ba? Truck drivers lang natin dito magkano in-earn ng truck drivers natin? 700 pesos or 900 pesos or 1,000 pesos at trip or a day. Samantalang sa US, ang Canada, ang Filipinos who drive trucks there earn as much as $250,000 pesos a month. Sinong hindi lilipat, 'di ba? If you can if you know how to speak English fluently or kumbaga kahit hindi fluently, kung naintindihan ka lang 'di ba? If you can express yourself clearly in the English language, wala nang barrier sa iyo para magpa-interview for visa, 'di ba? Or the employer who wants to hire you from another country or the northern country. This can hinder development efforts in the countries of origin. Wala nang teachers, bawas. Nurses. Lahat ng nasa hospital na nurses are practicing nurses only. Bawas. Saan napupunta? US. Saan tumatanda? US. Saan kumikita? US. So how might brain drain impact both source and destination countries? Alam nyo na. So, eto naman ang sunod nyo. Pang-apat na tanong, what policies could help address brain drain? Okay? So, meron na po tayong existing policies in the Philippines. It's just up to you to answer that one. So, in all the 4 questions na yan, Except for the essay, yung essay nyo, gawin yan sa likod ng bond paper or yellow paper. Then the 4 questions so far na binigay ko sa inyo, the 4th question is, what policies could help address brain drain? Okay? The first world developed nations, the term originated during the Cold War to describe capitalist or industrialized countries. Includes most of Western Europe, United States, Canada, Japan, and Australia. So, tulad na sinabi ko sa umpisa, it is by high GDP, strong infrastructure, and advanced technology. Often, democratic political system. So, what responsibilities do you think the First Nations have globally? Siyempre, na-discuss ko na rin po yan. Never mind that question. Second world, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. So, referred to socialist states aligned with the Soviet Union during the Cold War. So, this includes USSR, Eastern Europe, and some Asian communist states, like North Korea. This term is less used after the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991. So why do you think it is less relevant today? Kasi, kumbaga, natalo naman kasi sa Cold War ang Soviet Union. And most of these Soviet Union aligned countries or socialist states, they gained already their independence and are already practicing democracy. Diba? Yung lahat ng tan-tan-tan na yan na countries, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, they have, and alam nyo ba, napakalakas po ng hiring nila ngayon for international teachers. Because fresh pa lang yung independence nila, I think 6 years ago, yung iba eh. Because I have Filipino co-teachers na galing sa Indonesia, they migrated to those countries who already gained their independence from USSR. Kasi they need English-speaking teachers to teach them the language, universal language, as well as science and math. Yun po mga hinahanap nila. Kaya hindi umugrang major ko kasi history lang. So, pero science, math, and English are very in demand po. So, if you will be able to finish your BT-BTED courses, dito naman kayo mapupunta sa skilled workers na instructors. Diba? Meron din naman silang mga community colleges that will be all over the world, even in Canada, even in New Zealand and Australia, nag-hire din po naman sila ng mga Filipino teachers. The rise of emerging economies, some southern or third world countries experiencing rapid growth. So this include China, India, Brazil, and South Africa. So kung nasasali sila sa second world din kasi nandun sila sa yung umaangat na yung ekonomiya nila. China right now is a sleeping giant, di ba? Kasi malakas ang kanilang mga production. Malakas mabenta ang kanilang gamit, di ba, ng mga paninda. India has tulad natin sa Philippines, may mga call center na rin. So, magaling din sila when it comes to technology. Sa IT, magaling sila alam po sa IT. Brazil, don't know so much about Brazil, pero nagde-develop na rin ng Brazil, maybe in tourism. And South Africa has their own mining na maraming nagpapayaman sa kanila, and also with the help of the Global North, natutulungan din pong Africa to be economically stable. So, increase, dahil dito, yung itong mga umaangat na nagkakaroon ng rapid economic growth na countries, nagkakaroon ng increased influence nila sa global affairs and economy. China always has a say na, di ba? So, baga nagkakaroon na sila ng boses. India also has, di ba, nakikita nyo sa mga movies lang marami ng Chinese movies, marami ng taga-India din na artista, di ba? So, how do emerging economies impact global power dynamics? Bretton Woods institution shape global economy policies. So, ito yung mga establishment ng International Monetary Fund and World Bank, economic aid and development programs for the South. And these post-World War II policies influence kumbaga itong mga policies na to, kasi itong Bretton Woods ay ginawa yung policy na yan after the World War II, kasi isa sa mga kailangan nilang gawin is to help countries which were damaged by the World War. Ito pang pag-uusapan pa natin yan. So, bridging the divide moving forward. How do we bridge the gap between the North and the South? So, we recognize limitations of simplistic classifications. Kumbaga, alam natin na ito yung limitation natin. Kahit anong gawin natin, marami na talagang Pilipino. Meron na talagang population explosion. China also has that same problem. So, recognizing limitations natin, alam natin na dahil sa dami ng mouths to feed in the Philippines, hindi na enough ang hina-harvest nating mga bigas at mga palay. We have to import. So, nandun, bukas na yung isip ng mga politicians natin. Yung limitation natin, i-recognize natin, kulang tayo sa production ng palay, kulang tayo sa production ng bigas. Kaya nagmamahal ang bigas at saka yung sugar kasi limited yung resources natin. Diba? So, at the same time, since we recognize that, the government opened the tariff system. Kumbaga, pinapabayan nila lower tariff taxes na lang ang babayaran ng mga gustong mag-import ng bigas. They have to buy from other countries like Vietnam and other neighboring Southeast Asian countries. So we also can bridge the divide by promoting equitable global partnerships, di ba? So even MPC has a partnership with Japan, di ba? Sa automotive students natin, kapag nag-graduate kayo, there's an opportunity for you to work in Japan dahil sa partnership ng MPC with the Japanese manufacturing ng cars or automotives, di ba? Last year, ang hinahanap sa atin ay 200 automotive graduates and we only were able to send 71. So, ibig sabihin po, yun nga, meron tayong global partnership. May trabaho sa kanila, may mga magtatrabaho dito galing sa atin. So that will help us in the equitable or kumbaga patas na pag-exchange, di ba? We earn, dahil nasa Japan yung ating mga overseas Filipino workers, they send money to the Philippines and that money helps the economic progress of the nation. So, addressing root causes of inequality. Ano ba yung mga inequality na nangyayari na kailangan nating i-address para po ma-bridge itong North and South? Racism is one, right? Okay, na porque Pilipino ka, minamata ka, di ba? Hindi ka pwedeng sumabay sa, kumbaga, bubugbugin ka. Di ba sa US, may mga Filipino during the time of Donald Trump, naging masyado silang racist. Oh, sorry, that's only my opinion, but when it comes to dun yung pinaka-rampant yung galit na galit ng mga Americans with Asians, not just Filipinos but also with Chinese people, binubugbog nila, di ba? Even ako when I was working in the call center, alam ko, naging example ko na to. Somebody called, because I was working as a customer service representative in ticketing for United Airlines. And you know what? One day I received a call and sabi niya, you Filipinos, you stole our livelihood. I was one of the ticketing agents of United Airlines. And how much do they pay you? And doon ko lang po nalaman na I did not address the question. Right? It's less than $500, more or less $500 ang sinusweldo at the time. So what happened is that, sabi niya, you know what, kami 2,500 to 4,500, 2,500 ang aming minimum as customer service. You stole our jobs, sabi nga noon. So, kumbaga, may ginanon tayo kasi, kumbaga para sa kanila, ninakaw natin yung kabuhayan nila. Why? Dapat sa kanila yan eh. Kaso, nag-outsource ang mga American BPO industry, pinasok sa Philippines kasi Philippines nangangailangan din ng work. So, medyo hindi rin natin maintindihan because as far as I know, malaking impact din po ang call centers dito sa Philippines. Ang daming nagkakatrabaho in between Di ba, yung mga bagong graduate na nurses, teachers, kayo, malamang balang araw, makikita ko kayo sa call center, more or less, magkaka-experience din kayo. Kasi very in demand ang work na yan. So, the root causes of inequality, we need to bridge the divide also from the global north and global south. Racism is one. So, there are many ways. In a way, mga tao namang nakakatanggap naman na Pilipino nagsisilbi or naglilingkod sa kanila when it comes to their needs for tickets and flight reservations. Parang, okay, are you from the Philippines? Yan ang tanong. I already had an agent stand him or her. So, parang nagko-complain. So, nandun yung kumbaga, nabibigyan tayo ng equal opportunity around the world. Hindi lamang in Asia or anywhere else, but the global north gives us jobs and they acknowledge those jobs na nasa atin. Diba? Empowering developing nations. So, tulad nga sabi, diba, ni US, kahit anong mangyari, Philippines, nasa likod nyo kami. Kahit binubomba na yung inyong barko in the West Philippine Seas, tandaan nyo, kapag kayo ay ginera, United States will be besides you. Kumbaga, so medyo nagkakaroon tayo ng konting confidence to fight back. Kasi alam natin na hindi tayo pababayaan ng United Nations. Even United Nations decided that the West Philippine Seas, na part nun na inaago ng China, belongs to the Philippines. So what role can you play in creating a more equitable world? Maganda itong tanong, ha? What role can you play in creating a more equitable world? How do you bridge the gap of the North and the South in your own personal way? Paano mo yun ma-address? That's the fifth question. So, how can you create a more equitable world? Paano mo, bilang ikaw galing South, how will you contribute for the South and the North na ma-bridge yung gap nila? Okay, yun po ang panglimang tanong. That's the last one. Okay, what role can you play in creating a more equitable world? Next one, okay. Ito, I just want to touch lightly on this one. Bakit kasi pinasok to? So, the Bretton Woods Agreement was established in 1944. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na nag-establish ng US dollar as the basic basic money sa buong mundo, kumbaga. Pero before that, gold muna eh. So, parang gold muna ang ginagamit na weight in gold, yung gold ang ginagamit na pang-transaction for money. So, they established a stable exchange rate system. So, makikita nyo ngayon sa mga foreign exchanges, di ba, USD as the universal currency ng exchange rate. Binabase karamihan doon, okay? Kasi everywhere you go in the world, US dollars is acknowledged. It promotes international economic cooperation and prevent competitive devaluations of currency. Devaluation of currencies. So, kailangan ito po ay tumutulong po na hindi na po magkaroon ng, kumbaga, lahat ng foreign currencies will be based on the dollar. Bakit natin pinag-uusapan to? It's just very important that Bretton Woods is explained to you. Pwede rin kayo mag-research pa. Okay? This Bretton Woods also have an objective to facilitate post-war economic recovery. Kasi nang in-establish ito in 1944, ito yung mga nag-establish na mga institutions kung saan pwedeng manghiram ang mga post-war economically destroyed nations of the South. Sila yung mga tumulong. Dito in-establish ang International Monetary Fund para magkaroon ng international monetary system using the US dollar as the basic currency. The World Bank was established also to provide financial assistance for reconstructions and development. Dati when I was in first year, dito ko una nakita tong IMF, World Bank, kasi pinag-aaralan namin, meron kaming araling panlipunan na magazine. And the caricature is that the IMF provides the money pero may interest. World Bank, pinapautang din tayo pero may interest. Also, there are things attached with this one. Politically speaking, kapag hindi ka agree sa kung anong sasabihin ng US, which is actually the 44 nations who established this, namumuno na naman ang US. Even the United Nations, diba, the main headquarters is in the United States. So this gives United States more power in the economic and political aspects of the world. So these institutions aim to ensure global economic stability. How do you think these institutions impact global economies today? Well, they help. Okay? They help, but with certain prices to pay. Sometimes ginagamit yung mga ganyan eh. Siyempre, bago katulungan, pautangin, may mga certain conditions. And these conditions kung minsan ay umi-epekto din sa ating governance or ang ating sarili nating pag-govern ng ating bansa, nagkakaroon ng say ang IMF at World Bank. Kung hindi sila agree, kung saan mo ilalagay yung perang yan, hindi rin nila ikaw re-releasean. But however, kapag dating ng mga economic structures, usually, pumapayag naman sila. Ito yata yung yung bibigyan ng Maharlika Fund, para kumbaga, ito yung pondo ng Pilipinas, so ambag namin sa World Bank, kayo yung magpatakbo ng pera namin. Pero that never came to fruition, di ba? Hindi natuloy yung Maharlika Fund because marami ang nagre-reklamo. So, nagkaroon din po ng one way of bridging the gap between the North and the South is to have innovative approaches to education. O ito yung kanina sinabi ko sa inyo, no? Pero I want you to name specific education policies ng Philippines na kung saan ay nagkakaroon tayo ng implementation of improved government. Education in the Philippines. So we implement technology-driven education solutions, di ba? Meron tayong smart campus dito in the Philippines, in MPC. Yan ang example ko, smart campus. Tapos pag-usap, and then in your question there, in your answer there, pwede mo education for all. Encourage partnership with North and South educational institutions, like what I mentioned. Japan offered us partnership sa mga automotive graduates natin. Kaya kayo may Nihongo diba? Because, tama ba? Nihongo ba yung sa Japan? I don't know. But, you are having foreign languages classes kasi yun ang mga magiging prospect ninyo sa inyong mga pagtatrabahuan balang araw. Focus on vocational training and skill development. Then that's the best sa school natin, di ba? We promote skills development. Kasi anong kailangan, di ba? In Canada, they need butchers. They need farm hands. They need agricultural people. They need automotive and mechanically skilled workers, right? So, focus on vocational training and skill development. So, yun nga. So, education have long-term economic impact sa growth ng economic growth natin. Marami talaga. If we produce more teachers, then we would have more quality education. If we produce more doctors, then we will have quality doctors to attend to us, di ba? Sobra-sobra na sa pangangailangan ng buong mundo. Pero yun nga, sad to say, buti nga, meron na tayong free education on the tertiary level. So that's, lalo na sa atin, vocational school tayo, di ba? What happens is that we produce more graduates every year. Next one, promoting equitable global partnerships. Okay, foster partnerships that prioritize mutual benefits. Okay, ito yung mga mutual benefits tulad ng expressway. We partner with other countries like Japan. At sila yung babayaran natin, yung bridges na yan, di ba? Sila rin. So, address power imbalances in international trade agreements. Encourage knowledge and technology transfer. So, meron tayong mga Fulbright Scholar, di ba? Sa larangan ng arts and education. So, and the culture, di ba, nang exchange students tayo. Even MPC and Singapore Polytechnic is exchanging students every year para magkaroon tayo ng knowledge and technology transfer. So, ito yung mga successful examples of equitable partnerships. Pero sa economic, mas marami pa. I just couldn't mention more. Pero if you include this as one of your questions, then pwede ko pa po itong i-research further. So, empowering developing nations is also one of the ways wherein we could bridge the gap between the North and the South to focus on sustainable development and self-sufficiency. So, sabi nga, di ba, don't just give man a fish, teach him how to fish, to get the fish himself, di ba? So, we are having sustainable development of our economy, like for example, sa sustainable development natin, meron yung 8 Yun, having a plastic-free day is one. Self-sufficiency, hindi na tayo dependent sa mga colonizers natin. We also invest in education, healthcare, and infrastructure. So, kahit kalaban natin China, pag nagbibigay ng project ng infrastructure on China, parang isang bridge yata sa Manila, ang kanilang tinatanggap din natin, di ba? Promote fair trade practices and economic diversification. Okay, so kung may mga special na mga produkto ang Pilipinas, like the pinya cloth, di ba? O pwedeng i-promote ni North yun, di ba? Na ano pa ba ang mga products natin? Raw materials from mining. Yan. Fair trade practices, kumbaga yung mga tariff system natin. That's also an example. So, what role can local governments and communities play in bridging the North and the South? Okay, local governments and communities, I already asked you, kayo mismo, di ba? Ano bang question yun? Question number 4. I only have 5 questions, ha? Take note nyo. Just replay the lecture kung ano yung 5 questions na yun. Hindi ko ibibigay yun sa GCR. You are the one to check it through the lectures. So, what role ito, local governments and communities play? Yun na lang, balik na lang natin doon sa question na, what can you as a person do to bridge the gap between the North and the South? Local governments and communities, they're already doing it in partnership with the national government. Pero, ikaw, as an individual, how do you, or what's your role that you play to empower our developing nation or country? Para po, hindi naman tayo hanggang Global South lang. Mag-improve din naman tayo. Diba? So, hopefully, you understood our lesson for today. You have taken down notes of the important terms and also examples, and taken down notes of the 5 questions I gave you and the essay part of the caricature or the drawing. So, dun po sa 5 questions na yan, you will have 5 points. Use 5 sentences for each question, minimum. Sa essay nyo naman, 10 sentences minimum. So, those are all sensible answers, ha? Hindi yung copy-paste. Especially if you put in your personal point of view. I want you to put your personal point of view on the questions that I gave you. So, no copy-paste, and I hope that you understood the lesson between the global divides. If you have further questions, feel free to comment in the YouTube comment section, and we will be addressing your question on the next meeting. So, thank you so much and have a nice day.